All right, get ready because today we are going deep on some, well, fascinating stuff. We're diving into the Muntu,
Ooh.
a concept from the Bumuntu teachings.
Interesting.
Ever heard of it?
I have, yes.
It's a perspective that looks at humans as these multi-layered beings.
Multi-
Almost like, get this,
Yeah.
organic computers.
Okay, interesting.
Our source material is an article that really explores this whole idea.
Yeah.
And it is some mind-blowing stuff, I've got to say.
Hmm.
So, are you ready to unlock the secrets of your inner software?
I love where this is going. This whole idea of humans existing on multiple levels is key, right?
Are
We're not
we?
just physical beings.
Oh, of course not.
We've got this spiritual and energetic side to us as well.
Yeah.
The article makes a really interesting comparison to computers
Okay.
with our physical bodies being the hardware and something else acting as the software.
Okay, I'm hooked. So, if our bodies are the hardware in this human computer,
Yeah.
what exactly makes up the software? What's running in the background, so to speak?
That's where things get interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The article talks about our internal programs
Okay.
and how they're shaped by all sorts of factors.
Like what?
Things like societal conditioning,
Mm-hmm.
personal experiences, even our ancestral heritage, all play a role in shaping who we are.
Interesting.
And these programs, they can either help us reach our full potential, or they can actually hold us back.
Hold us back. So, are you saying we're all just walking around with outdated software?
Well, not exactly outdated,
Okay.
but perhaps not functioning optimally.
I see.
Think of it like this. The article suggests that these programs are like blueprints,
Okay.
internal blueprints that influence our thoughts, our behaviors,
Mhm.
and even how we interact with the world.
Okay.
If those blueprints have glitches or are based on limiting beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
we might not be functioning at our best.
Okay, that makes sense. But where do these glitches come from? Are we just born with them, or do we pick them up along the way?
It's a mix of both, actually.
Yeah.
The article mentions how some of these programs are inherited from our ancestors or imprinted on us early on in childhood.
Interesting.
But it also emphasizes our ongoing experiences.
So, like, how we're treated growing up.
Exactly. The way we're
Yeah.
treated, the messages we receive from society,
Right.
even the small interactions we have every day all contribute to shaping our inner software.
So basically, we're constantly downloading new programs, some helpful and some not so much. It makes you wonder, can we actually control what gets installed, or are we just at the mercy of whatever comes our way?
That's a key question.
Yeah.
And the answer, according to the Ubuntu teachings, is that we have more control than we realize.
Okay.
It's not about passively receiving external programming,
I see.
but rather becoming aware of what's already running in our systems
Right.
and consciously choosing what to keep and what needs to be, let's say, uninstalled.
That's empowering. So it's not like we're stuck with whatever software we've inherited or picked up along the way. We can actually upgrade and optimize our systems. Tell me more about this uninstalling process. How does that work?
Well, think about it like this.
Okay.
Before you can uninstall a program, you have to know it's there,
Yeah.
right? You have
Yeah.
to be aware of its existence and how it's affecting your system.
Makes sense.
That's where self-awareness comes in.
Okay.
The article emphasizes this as the first and most crucial step
Got it.
in the reprogramming process. It's about paying attention
So what?
to your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions,
Right.
and becoming aware of the patterns and programs that are driving them.
Okay, so becoming a detective of our own minds.
Exactly.
But once we have identified those pesky programs, how do we actually get rid of them? Is it like dragging them to the recycle bin?
Well, it's a bit more nuanced than that, but you're getting the idea. The article delves into specific practices for what it calls diplomatie cosmique.
Diplomatie cosmique.
Yeah.
That sounds intriguing. What does that even mean? Is it like cosmic diplomacy?
No.
Are we negotiating with aliens or something?
Not quite aliens, but it does involve a form of diplomacy, just not in the traditional sense.
Okay.
Diplomatie cosmique essentially translates to cosmic diplomacy.
I'm all ears. Tell me more about this cosmic diplomacy. What's that all about?
Well, the article suggests that it's about being aware of and actively engaging with all the different forces and energies that influence our lives.
Okay.
These forces could be things like societal norms or ancestral patterns or even like the collective consciousness.
Interesting.
The idea is that by understanding these influences and how they interact with our internal programs, we can start to shift them in a more positive direction.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's like We're not just working with our own internal software, but we're also navigating the external forces that are shaping it.
Right.
But how do we actually do that? What are some practical steps we can take to engage in this cosmic diplomacy?
Well, the article offers some really intriguing insights.
Okay.
One key aspect it highlights is cultivating a strong sense of self.
Mm.
The stronger our sense of self,
Yeah.
the less likely we are to be swayed by external pressures or negative programming.
Right.
It's about developing a solid foundation
Yeah.
from which to navigate these cosmic influences.
Okay, that makes sense. If you've got a strong internal compass, you're less likely to get lost in the cosmic storm, right?
Exactly.
But how do we actually strengthen that sense of self?
Yeah.
What are some concrete steps we can take?
The articles suggest a few key practices.
Like what?
One is mindfulness.
Mindfulness, okay.
But by paying attention to our thoughts, emotions, and sensations,
Yeah,
we become more aware of our internal landscape
okay.
and how it's being affected by external factors.
So becoming more aware of our internal operating system, like noticing when a program is running that's causing problems.
Exactly. And once we're aware,
Yeah,
we can start to question those programs,
okay.
challenge their validity,
Mm.
and even choose to rewrite them.
Interesting. Okay, so mindfulness is one.
Another practice the article mentions is connecting with nature,
Connecting with nature, okay?
spending time in nature.
Yeah,
It can help us ground ourselves,
right.
tap into a sense of peace and stillness,
Mm-hmm.
and reconnect with our innate wisdom.
I like that. Like hitting the refresh button on your system, get a dose of natural antivirus.
Yeah.
But what about the social influences? We can't just live in a bubble, right? How do we navigate those external forces, especially the ones that might be negatively impacting our software?
That's where discernment comes in.
Discernment?
The article talks about becoming more conscious of the information we consume,
Oh, okay.
the company we keep,
Right.
and the environments we choose to be in.
Makes sense.
Recognizing that all these things, these external factors, they're constantly influencing our internal state
Yeah.
and then making choices that support our well-being and growth.
So it's like being mindful of the downloads we're allowing into our system, making sure we're not, exposing ourselves to viruses and malware.
Exactly.
I can see how that ties into the whole cosmic diplomacy idea.
Right.
But what about those alliances the article mentions? What role do they play in all of this?
That's a really interesting aspect.
Yeah.
Remember how we talked about humans not being solely physical beings?
Right.
Well, the Ubuntu teachings really emphasize this multidimensionality
Okay.
and suggest that we have the potential to connect with forces beyond our physical realm. These forces could be ancestral guides or spiritual energies, or even what the article refers to as cosmic allies.
Cosmic allies. This is where things get really interesting. Can you elaborate on that? Who are these cosmic allies?
Yeah.
And how do we connect with them?
Well, the article doesn't give specific details about the nature of these cosmic allies.
Okay.
But it hints that they're these benevolent forces that can offer guidance and support, even protection on our journey.
Right.
It suggests that connecting with these allies involves aligning ourselves with the positive energies of the universe.
Right.
Cultivating a sense of gratitude and reverence for life,
Mm-hmm.
and engaging in practices that nurture our spiritual connection.
So it's like forming a spiritual support system.
Oh.
Like tapping into a network of wisdom and guidance that extends beyond our limited human perspective.
Exactly. And by tapping into this network,
Yeah.
we can gain a deeper understanding of ourselves, our purpose,
Uh-huh.
and our place in the grand scheme of things.
This is all incredibly thought-provoking. We've gone from the idea of humans as organic computers to this concept of cosmic diplomacy and forming alliances with unseen forces.
It's a lot, right?
It is a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, how does all of this relate back to the practical aspects of, reprogramming ourselves? How do we actually apply these concepts to create positive change in our lives?
That's a great question. And I think the key lies in recognizing the interconnectedness of all these different levels.
Interconnectedness. Can you unpack that a bit for me?
Sure. So we've talked about the internal software that shapes our thoughts and behaviors.
Right?
We've also talked about the external forces that influence that software
Uh-huh.
and the potential to connect with cosmic allies for guidance and support.
Yeah.
Well, the Ubuntu teachings suggest that these aren't separate, isolated things,
Okay.
but rather interconnected aspects of a unified whole.
So it's like a holistic ecosystem where our internal and external worlds are constantly interacting and influencing each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the key to reprogramming ourselves lies in understanding those interactions and then consciously shaping them in a way that supports our growth and well-being.
Okay.
It's about aligning our internal software with the positive forces of the universe,
Hmm.
cultivating a sense of harmony within ourselves and with the world around us.
I love that. It's about creating a synergy between our internal and external worlds, aligning our personal software with the cosmic operating system.
Precisely. And that's where the concept of reprogramming becomes truly transformative.
Yeah.
It's not just about changing our thoughts or behaviors in isolation,
Right.
but about shifting our entire way of being in the world.
This whole discussion has been incredibly insightful, but I can't help but wonder what if someone's listening to this and they're feeling overwhelmed by all this talk of cosmic diplomacy and reprogramming,
Yeah.
what would you say to someone who's thinking this all sounds great, but I don't even know where to begin?
I think it's important to remember that this is a journey, not a destination.
Okay.
There's no need to feel pressured to understand or implement everything all at once.
So it's more about taking small steps and gradually upgrading our software over time.
Exactly. The key is to start with where you are and to be patient and compassionate with yourself along the way.
Right.
Even small shifts in awareness and intention can have a profound impact on our lives.
That's reassuring. But let's say someone is ready to take that first step.
Yeah.
What would be your advice? Where would you suggest they begin?
Well, I think a great starting point is to simply cultivate a sense of curiosity. Explore the concepts we've discussed today.
Yeah.
Maybe read more about the Muntu teachings or other philosophies that resonate with you.
Mm-hmm.
Start paying attention to your thoughts and emotions.
Right.
And notice how they're influenced by external factors.
Okay.
And most importantly, don't be afraid to experiment. Try different practices.
Yeah.
See what works for you and trust your own inner guidance.
That's great advice. It's about embracing the journey of self-discovery and trusting that we have the inner wisdom to navigate it.
Exactly.
This whole Muntu concept is incredibly empowering. It suggests that we're not just passive recipients of our programming, but active participants in shaping our own reality.
Right.
But it also brings up some interesting questions. If we have this power to reprogram ourselves,
Yeah.
what are the potential pitfalls?
Hmm.
What could go wrong on this journey of self-improvement, you know?
That's a really important question.
Yeah.
While the idea of self-transformation is empowering,
Right.
it's crucial to approach it with awareness and caution. One potential pitfall is getting caught up in the idea of
Yeah.
achieving some, perfect idealized version of ourselves.
So like striving for a software update that doesn't actually exist. Chasing after some mythical version 10.0 when we're all still working out the kinks in version 1.0.
Exactly. The journey of reprogramming isn't about achieving perfection,
Right.
but rather about ongoing growth and evolution.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that we're all works in progress,
Yeah.
constantly learning and adapting and
Yeah.
refining our software.
Okay.
Another potential pitfall is becoming so focused on our internal world that we lose sight of the bigger picture.
So like getting stuck in the settings menu, obsessing over every little detail, and forgetting to actually use the device.
That's a great analogy. While self-awareness is essential,
Yeah.
it's important to remember that we're part of a larger interconnected web.
Right.
The Ubuntu teachings emphasize the importance of balancing personal growth
Okay.
with a sense of responsibility to the community and the world around us.
That makes a lot of sense. It's
Yeah.
like upgrading your software, not just for your own benefit, but to contribute to a better functioning network overall.
Right.
So we've covered a lot of ground today, from the concept of the Muntu as an organic computer to exploring the nuances of cosmic diplomacy
Yeah.
and the potential pitfalls of reprogramming.
It's been quite the journey.
It has. But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to circle back to the source material
Okay.
and highlight something that really stood out to me. The article ends with this powerful message.
Okay.
If you could consciously reprogram one aspect of yourself, what would it be and why? What are your thoughts on that?
That's such a profound question.
Yeah.
It really challenges us to take ownership of our own evolution
Right.
and to consider what aspects of ourselves we want to cultivate or refine.
Right.
I think it's a question worth pondering deeply.
I completely agree. And for anyone listening, I encourage you to really sit with that question. What program, what belief, what pattern is preventing you from living your most authentic and fulfilling life?
Right.
And what steps can you take starting today to rewrite that code and create the reality you desire?
Yeah.
The power, as we've explored today, lies within each of us.
Beautifully said. And remember, this journey of self-discovery and transformation,
Yeah.
an ongoing process.
Right.
There's no finish line, no perfect state to achieve.
Yeah.
It's about embracing the journey, being patient with
You're
ourselves,
right.
and trusting the wisdom that unfolds along the way.
And if this deep dive has sparked your curiosity about the Muntu concept and the Bumuntu teachings,
Yeah.
I encourage you to explore further. There's a whole world of wisdom and insight waiting to be discovered. Until next time, keep diving deep and keep upgrading your software.